Before we begin to recap this Thursday night matchup and get to the latest injury news, which unfortunately is not good, I want you all watching right now to spam the comment section with FPIT. If you've got a Steelers friend, coworker, even a family member, let them know that their weekend is ruined before it even starts. Meanwhile, the rest of us get to enjoy a nice, stress-free weekend of football. So spam FPIT if you are pumped after that Thursday night win. Today's Cleveland Browns report is sponsored by Mint Mobile. If you are tired or overpaying on your cell phone plan and you want to get hooked up on the nation's largest 5G network, make sure you make the change right now at mintmobile.com/chatsports. And when you use that link, they're going to get you guys going on monthly rates low as $15 a month. We'll tell you more about their awesome benefits later on. But let's get into the latest news and rumors coming out of the Cleveland Browns' 29-17 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football from First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. It's so great to see that score. I will never get tired of just looking at 29-17, Denzel Ward jumping on the fumble in the end zone, securing the win. Let's go, baby. But unfortunately, we do have to halt the parade for a moment because the latest injury news on Anthony Walker is not good news. I think we all feared this was coming. It is the worst case scenario. Adam Schefter tweeting out that Anthony Walker has a torn quad tendon and he will require season-ending surgery and is considered to be a 5 to 7th month injury. Even on the shortest of scales, that's an injury where you come back the first weekend of February. So, big-time bummer. It was not the only injury that came out of this game. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, still waiting an update on him. He got an MRI on his quad. And Taven, Bryan, he exited the game with a hamstring injury. That does not appear to be as serious as the two linebackers. Now, no Anthony Walker for the rest of the season. JOK. The Browns luckily have a long week before Atlanta, week 4. But it'll be Jacob Phillips starting in Anthony Walker's spot, and he's going to wear the green dot. I'm telling you, it's not good when your team is struggling with communication and you lose arguably the most important player on this defense. It's a cliche. Anthony Walker's not the best player on this defense, but I think deep down he's one of the most important pieces. He is the relay man from Joe Woods to the rest of this defense, and he has been the vocal leader. I mean, he's only been in Cleveland for 2 years, but it feels like he's been there for so much longer. I am going to miss number 5. Spam 5 in the comments section. Let Anthony Walker know that the dog pound is thinking about him. But Phillips did look great yesterday filling in for Walker, so that's good. Tony Fields had some good plays too, so if it's Taki, Phillips, and Fields, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully JOK will get back on the field soon, but big time bummer to see Anthony Walker's season cut short after 2.5 games. All right, let's switch gears here and let's get to some rumors coming out of this game. Is Jacoby Brissett a legit NFL starter? I'm on the hype train. 4 Bernie heads. I will get drunk on this. I don't care. We had a lot of fun last night during our watch party. Some of you might be surprised to see I'm even standing right now. We'll talk more about that at the end of the video. But Jacoby Brissett probably had the best game of his career. Pro Football Focus thinks so. They gave him a PFF grade of 92.5. That is insanely high, and he deserves it. 21 for 31, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. And here was what different from week 1 and even into week 2 into week 3. There were plays where Jacoby Brissett felt the pressure coming and stood in the pocket and delivered a strike to Amari Cooper or Njoku time after time. Jacoby Brissett wasn't looking to just tuck in and run. No, he was keeping his eyes downfield. He was testing the defense, saying, if you don't want to play to cover 2 and you want to force me to beat you deep, I'll take you up on that and I'll burn you. So Jacoby Brissett by far had his best game. I owe some apologies. I definitely was not a huge believer in Brissett. I thought he would play average, and it wasn't average last night. It was well above it. And so far through 3 games, nearly 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception. Brissett has looked great. Hopefully he can keep this play up going up against some tough defenses. Now, before we get to some more rumors coming out of this Thursday night victory, I want to tell everyone about Mint Mobile, today's proud sponsor. You might have heard of them, seen some of the ads from famous actor Ryan Reynolds. Well, he is extending the offer to the Dog Pound. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, that link's in the comments and the description of today's show, you will get hooked up on the nation's largest 5G network. And here is the beauty of Mint Mobile. You don't have to spend your Saturday in a Mint Mobile store switching from one cell phone provider to the next. You can do it from your home, on your couch, watching the Buckeyes on Saturday. Thanks to new eSIM technology, you can also keep your phone number and your phone. You're just going to start saving more money. So make sure you make your start right now at mintmobile.com/chatsports. All right, segment number 2. Is the defense fixed? One Bernie head. It's not fake news because there were improvements, but I'm not going to stand up here and pretend like everything's 100% now. We can go back to this defense being awesome. The Steelers had some moments, and they had 2 touchdown drives, both coming in the first half. One of them was ignited by a phenomenal catch by George Pickens. And I remember saying during our watch party, that's awesome. That's cool and all for the Steelers, but that's not sustainable. You're not going to be able to move down the field time after time because of George Pickens' one-handed grabs. Overall, Pittsburgh, 308 yards, 204 through the air, 104 on the ground. But that 1 for 9 on third down, that's what you love to see. Because I was pretty out on Joe Woods at halftime. I think a lot of us were. We were calling for his head, and I was saying this is a bend-don't-break defense that still breaks. So what is it? Well, they definitely responded in the second half, saw more man coverage, which brings me into some of my takeaways. The defensive line was bullied. This Pittsburgh offensive line was not very highly touted. Not one of their best O-lines. Doesn't have Pouncey or any of the big names anymore. Yet, Jordan Elliott and Taven Bryan were being pushed around. Joe Woods, he did make adjustments. He is not going to sink on his zone defense, and he will trust his corners in man, which you have to do because the crucial element of zone defense is knowing your responsibility. Knowing, hey, I'm covering the flat, or I've got a half the field deep. If you don't have that communication, you're going to get wide open touchdowns like Robbie Anderson and Corey Davis. All in all, this defense still has a long way to go. I know everyone is pumped up after that win, but this defense still has to make some serious improvements because they haven't faced very tough QBs to start the year. Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, and Mitch Trubisky might end the season ranked 32, 31, and 30-ish. What happens when they play some tougher QBs? That is where this defense will be really tested. Because 7 touchdowns and 1 pick from those 3 QBs, I was expecting a different ratio against these bottom-tier quarterbacks. Now, let me pose this question to you guys. What's your confidence level in this defense? Scale it 1 to 10, 1 being you have 0 confidence, 10 being you think this is an all-pro top 10 defense or top 5, whatever. I'm probably at a 5.9. I'm not at a 6 because that sounds like too big of a number, but I'm close to it, seeing how this defense played in the second half and limited the Steelers to just 1 field goal. Next story coming up here. Did the Browns fleece the Cowboys for this Amari Cooper trade? You betcha. 4 Bernie heads, baby. We are polarizing today. The fact that the Cleveland Browns got Amari Cooper, who's going to look like a Pro Bowl receiver this entire year, for basically a 5th-round pick, and I bet you 90% of Cowboys fans don't even know what that 5th-round pick turned out to be, worked for me. Because Cooper has been great. Even in week 1 where he had a quiet stat line, don't forget, he drew that pass interference in the end zone that if he was not mauled by the DB, it would have been a touchdown. Instead, it turned into a Kareem Hunt touchdown. So it might be just 2 on the stat sheet, but I count it like 2.8 because it basically was his. He has been just so reliable. 27 targets, 19 receptions. He had 1 drop, and then he had that bad going out of bounds play in the first half. But outside of those 2 errors, He has been perfect. 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also the first Browns wide receiver to get back-to-back 100-yard receiving games since Josh Gordon did it in 2013. Nearly a decade since a Browns receiver basically had 2 good games. That is astonishing. I figured Jarvis Landry would have done it at some point, but Amari Cooper, he's my new favorite player on this Browns team. I mean, he has just been so fun to watch the last couple of weeks. All right, final segment of today's show. Was David Njoku worth the big contract he got? I'm at 2 Bernie heads. In the middle. We still got a lot of football left. But Njoku played, I wouldn't say his best game ever, but arguably, he broke some records of his own. In week 3, 10 targets, 9 receptions. If it came his way, he caught it basically. 89 yards, and he had the body control and the presence to get down in the end zone this time. Definitely needed this game. Definitely needed to see David Njoku look like a top-paid tight end, which he is. And by the way, those 9 receptions, that's a new career high in one game for the Chief. Njoku, after being quiet through the first 2 weeks of the season, he needed to step up. He needed to look like the first-round pick that was worth getting a pretty big fat contract that a lot of us thought was questionable by AB in the moment. But Njoku, good job silencing the doubters and the haters, somewhat like myself on this Thursday night, by going out there and having a monstrous game. All right, in case you're wondering, the Browns 2-1 sit at the top of the AFC North. And here's what the rest of the division is doing this week 3. The Ravens go to the Patriots, 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff. It's always tough to bet against Bill Belichick, but it's definitely going to be a Ravens favored game. And then the Bengals go to the Jets. I feel like the Bengals had a ton of success against the Jets last year, didn't they? I know they're going to make fun of the Browns, but there's no way Cincinnati blew a lead against New York. No, that couldn't sound right. So that's probably going to be an easy win for Cincy this year. No doubt about it. All right, if you tuned into our watch party, type me in the comments section. The real ones make it to the end of the video. The real ones have some real fun on our watch parties. We got a little out of hand at the end. The supers were flowing. The drinks were definitely flowing. I am alive and well. Do not worry. But the alarm going off at 8 a.m. today, that hurt. All right. We will sign off. I will see you all later with more Browns news and rumors. But hey, you are watching the 2-1 Cleveland Browns Report.